I spent almost 25 years as a trial lawyer before I became the host of The Katie Phang Show. Whether it was a criminal or civil case, the facts and the evidence are what matter the most. And my currency as a trial lawyer, the truth. Sure, as a lawyer, you perfect the art of the spin. But at the end of the day, and no matter how hard you try to make it look nicer or sound better, it's the truth that will either bring victory or a crushing defeat. In the Dominion versus Fox News defamation case, Fox is now looking down the barrel of an ever-worsening lie spiral that has been created at their own hands. Time and time again, Fox allegedly trafficked in lies and falsity. And the end result just might be a financial death penalty that renders the corporation unable to continue. As we've seen put forth in the thousands upon thousands of pages of evidence released during the course of the discovery process in this case, people at Fox News allegedly knew what it was repeatedly peddling to its viewers were lies. But it didn't care because, according to the lawsuit, the profits were more important than the truth. Because, as in the own words of Fox CEO Rupert Murdoch, Fox didn't want to antagonize Donald Trump further, and he wanted to keep Trump's supporters as viewers, even as he admitted under oath during his deposition that he never believed that Dominion rigged the 2020 presidential election. In its most recent filing, Dominion alleges that Fox has now conceded that what it put out for its viewers to consume about Dominion were lies. Fox has produced no evidence, none, zero, supporting those lies. Dominion goes even further and argues that Fox could have ultimately reported the truth, but chose not to do so. Fox also could have retracted those lies, but chose not to do so. In a statement, Fox News lawyers said, thanks to today's filings, Dominion has been caught red-handed using more distortions and misinformation in their PR campaign to smear Fox News and trample on free speech and freedom of the press. Note, they don't say that there are any lies. Armed with those thousands of pages of texts and internal chats and emails by and between Fox's hosts, producers, and executives, Dominion now seeks to convince a Delaware judge that a jury no longer needs to hear the case because, as a matter of law, there's no work left to be done to decide whether Fox defamed Dominion. On March 21st, both sides will appear in court for an oral argument battle. As Dominion has argued, it's the rare case to grant summary judgment of actual malice, but it is also the rare case where direct evidence of actual malice exists, as it does here. And some legal experts agree. Dominion doesn't just have the upper hand, it has the truth on its side. If Dominion is successful, then all that would be left to determine is the amount of damages that Dominion is entitled to receive. And that's where the numbers become astronomical. Dominion is seeking $1.6 billion in lost profits and reputational harm. But it's also seeking punitive damages, which are not capped under New York law and could also be in the billions of dollars. Punitive damages are intended to punish the wrongdoer and to deter others from repeating that egregious conduct. And a multi-billion-dollar punitive damages verdict would not only punish Fox, but it would send a ringing message to all media companies to keep themselves in check. Yesterday, I had the chance to sit down with Representative Eric Swalwell about this case and more. Here's that conversation. Joining me now is Congressman Eric Swalwell, Democrat from California. Congressman, it's so good to see you, as always. Thanks for joining us on The Katie Phang Show. I wanted to start with your take on the latest in the Dominion voting systems versus Fox News litigation. I know you've been following this case very closely. A lot of people maybe don't know, but should know that you also are a lawyer, also a congressman, but you're very familiar with what happens in court. But what I've noticed about you is you've kind of refocused this case on, somebody like Kevin McCarthy versus Tucker Carlson. We'll get to that in a second, but I kind of wanted to get your take on what you think about the latest in this huge document dump that's been coming out in terms of the exhibits that are being released.
They knew and they did it anyway, is how I would summarize this. That's the opening statement I would make to a jury. And by the way, Katie, it looks like it's headed that way. There's a very high bar to bring a defamation case against a, quote unquote, public figure. And for good reason, for good, freedom of speech reasons. But, when there is, knowledge and malice in your intent, you're not protected. And so the evidence now shows that everyone at Fox knew that the election fraud claims were BS, but they spun them and told them anyway. And what happened? Well, obviously it hurt Dominion financially and reputationally. It hurt the country even more because a mob was assembled and aimed at the Capitol, and we're still healing from that. And so it looks like this is going to trial. I hope there's some accountability, and maybe hitting them where it hurts most, the pocketbook, will bring reforms in the evening hour at Fox News.
So let's talk about the harm to the country, because I think that's the most important thing. Yes, Dominion voting systems, reputational harm, lost profits. There could be a dollar that could be an amount that was going to make them whole. I'm worried a lot about Americans and the disinformation and the misinformation that was pumped out of Fox News. Has there been any discussions in Congress about maybe congressional oversight, regulations, maybe the FCC getting involved? I know we all respect the First Amendment, Congressman, but should there be some type of gatekeeping that happens so that this doesn't happen again?
Well, again, I think about our troops, and I've been all over the world and have visited our troops in some of the harshest places, and nothing makes them feel more like home than their access, to American television programming. And a popular channel is Fox News. And again, I don't want to get in the business of telling troops what they can and cannot watch. But if you have a news station that a court is going to rule is in its evening hour, perpetuating dis and misinformation, I don't know if I disagree with Vote Vets, who is saying that we need to take a look at, how this is being broadcast to our troops. I hope that's an incentive for Fox News to clean up its evening hour, starting with Tucker Carlson and going late into the evening with Laura Ingraham. They all spun and told these lies. So I don't think we're without complete recourse.
So, Congressman, like I mentioned a couple of minutes ago at the beginning of your interview, you've refocused and recentered the conversation from Tucker Carlson to Speaker McCarthy. You've tweeted out stuff like, let's not waste our time on Tucker Carlson. He's a troll. Let's focus on the guy feeding the trolls, Speaker McCarthy. You also tweeted, McCarthy fed the trolls by giving Fox the January 6th video. I mean, in this instance, we also know that members of the GOP disagree with Kevin McCarthy, disagree with Tucker Carlson's reframing, frankly, of what happened on January 6th. What type of advantages can be drawn by the Democrats in terms of pursuing the truth and making sure Americans understand that the way that Tucker Carlson is presenting this, courtesy of Kevin McCarthy, is wrong?
So we tell our children at the zoo, don't feed the animals because the animals can't help themselves. And so that's why I think we have to focus on the person who can help himself, Kevin McCarthy. And he sure did help himself and hurt everyone else by feeding a troll like Tucker Carlson. And so he's the one that should be held responsible. But, Katie, we can expect more of this because to become Speaker, Kevin McCarthy is in a reoccurring payment plan for this corrupt bargain. And so every week we see, the latest payment for him to remain as Speaker. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who rooted for the rioters, is on the Homeland Security Committee. George Santos, a wanted international criminal who's admitted to most of the lies that he's told, is still in Congress. Tucker Carlson has access to the most sensitive security footage at the Capitol. A group of January 6th sympathizers are leading a congressional delegation to the D.C. jail. So there are going to be more and more installments for this corrupt bargain. And so there may be Republicans that you pointed out that disagree with him. My question to them is, well, what are you going to do about it?